Putting Donald Trump in charge of our next Air Farce One is only going to degrade our command and control function and make it so that future presidents are screwed, and our ability to preserve national security in time of a crisis is completely undermined, so that Donald Trump can ride around in a plane for about a 3 or 4 month period of time, and then poof, it goes off with him to his library. This is important. That Donald Trump, his efforts to undermine our national security are not getting enough attention. Huffington Post just did a great article about it. I want to pick up with it right here on Legal AF. What am I talking about? In the first Trump administration, he gave the green light to Boeing to make a new plane. That plane has been so delayed, it didn't get delivered during the Biden administration, and it's still a couple of years away from being delivered to this administration. But he cut corners. He cut corners that at the time got very little press. For instance, the ability for Air Farce One to be refueled so that it can travel around for weeks in case we've got something like a nuclear disaster. Take 9/11, multiply it by 3 or 4 times. You may need to have the commander-in-chief in the air. He may not be able to refuel. You want it to be able to refuel in the air and be able to stay aloft for a long period of time. Nope. Donald Trump got rid of that. Now the most that Air Farce One, either the new plane, we presume from Dubai for the short period of time that we're going to get a rental, or the one that Boeing is making, which is still taxpayer dollars are still being invested in that. It only allows the president to be in the air for 15 years. And when I say the president, I don't mean Donald Trump. I mean the next president and future presidents. See, Donald Trump is leaving his imprint, his impression in a negative way on our command and control structure. See, for Donald Trump, it's just a big, beautiful plane. And everybody else has a more luxurious, big, beautiful plane. So why doesn't he? All right. He says, oh, when I go to Dubai, they have all these 777s and 787s. And we've got our schlocky, baby blue Air Farce One. But Air Farce One is not just a cargo plane to take human beings from point A to point B. It is supposed to be at the very heart of the command and control structure for the U.S. government. Remember, Donald Trump sometimes forgets, he's the commander-in-chief. And so when he's up in the air, if there were a disaster on the ground, and I don't want to go through all of the apocalyptic scenarios, but picture mushroom clouds, if that were ever to happen, and for instance, for a fact that the Russians, the Chinese, and other enemies of ours, like North Korea, they know when Air Farce One is wheels up. They know when it's wheels down. They can track it. They do track it. Hell, there's websites that are devoted to tracking Air Farce One, even though they tell you, well, we can't tell you about the plans for how we're going to retrofit for hundreds of millions and billions of dollars this gift for a temporary rental for Donald Trump because it's national security and classified. So we're going to be opaque. We're not going to be transparent, even though we love to say our administration is the most transparent on earth. But we know where the plane is, and so do they. So you can just imagine a scenario where somebody like Putin or the leader of North Korea or President Xi in China know that Air Farce One is in the air, know that it can only refuel for 15 hours. I mean, it can only circle for 15 hours before it needs to land for refueling, and it does something devastating on planet Earth while Donald Trump is in space. You see where we're going with this? And that's not the only sort of cost cutting, corner cutting that Donald Trump did that's going to undermine our national security into the future. He spent an inordinate amount of time and resources doing things the American people hate. 63% of the American people are against the tariff program. The same number is against him cutting Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and all the rest, and funding to the states and funding to not-for-profits that help everyday Americans. He's severed the fuel line, the umbilical cord between America and the American government. He's taken America out of the American economy, and the public hates it. And he must know that they hate it. And so now, with all that Doge, Elon Musk cost cutting, which even he's now objecting to, Donald Trump's spending program, they cut tens of millions and billions of dollars from programs that matter, including humanitarian aid around the country to promote the American brand. And what has he done now? He's spending billions of dollars wastefully on a new Air Farce One for temporary use by him. He may never even live to see. I'm talking about his administration, obviously. But he's going to stick it to the next president and beyond. He's making clothes now that the future presidents have to wear. And that's the problem. Because you can't now fix after the fact, well, we need to add back the ability to refuel in the air so that the president can stay as the commander-in-chief in the air for a week. Can't do it after the fact. It's supposed to be bomb-proof. It's supposed to be missile-proof. Donald Trump well, let's cut that. Let's cut this. And that is the undermining of our command and our control structure. And if we don't call out these things here on Legal AF, on the Midas Touch Network, I don't know where else we're going to talk about it. The silent majority is over. It's time for us to get upset. It's time for us to talk truth to power, truth to each other first about all of these things. We have an incompetent as president. There's no executive function in the executive branch, as I've said before. And he's making decisions now that there's submarine decisions that are going to pop up like the bodies in the Poltergeist movie at just the wrong time. I don't know how the commander-in-chief in the future is going to be able to even use Air Farce One at the rate Donald Trump is trying to cost cut. And what will be Air Farce One? This 25-year-old baby blue, giant we have now that he's on, the Cutter airplane that's been donated to him that has to be retrofitted, the one that Boeing's working on. Which is it, Trump administration? They won't tell you. They're just wasting billions of dollars that could go to stop childhood poverty, stop childhood illness, mortality, infant mortality, illiteracy, and all the things that would help the red states, by the way. That's over because it's all been wasted. There's now just a giant hole in the bucket, and Donald Trump is spending money like apologies to drunken sailors, like a drunken sailor on leave. Continue to follow it. I'm glad you're here on Legal AF. If I mentioned we're building a channel with you and for you, it's called Legal AF. Take a moment, hit the free subscribe button. I'm going to continue to bring my commentary, but not just mine. We've got 11 other contributors here on Legal AF that we've built. We've got several podcasts, unprecedented. A look at the United States Supreme Court I do weekly with Dina Dahl. We've got It's Complicated with Asha and Renato. You're going to love that show. We've got The Intersection with me, Michael Popok. 3 strong podcasts here anchoring Legal AF. And then we've got the playlist for all those amazing people that hopefully you've come to enjoy. Court Accountability Action, Shan Wu, Dina Dahl, Melba Pearson, Dave Arenberg, and of course, Court of History, last but not, of course, least, Sidney Blumenthal and Sean Walence's attempt to place in historical context everything we're watching with an out-of-control rogue Trump presidency. So until my next reporting on Legal AF, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.